procrastinating, you don't want to do it, but you know you should, and because you do want to do it, something scary, something new, a goal that just feels too hard to do, but you want to do it, okay? What we're going to do is like an acting exercise. You're going to let yourself become the perspective that doesn't want to do the thing. Normally, there's this part of us who doesn't want to do the thing for whatever reason. We're going to hopefully find out what that is. And then there's this part who's yelling all the time at this part. And so what we're going to do today is let this one just be quiet and go over here. That's the difference. Normally all day long, this one's resisting and this one's badgering that one. So we never really give this one any airtime. We don't listen to its reasoning because we don't want to hear its reasons. We think that its reasons are stupid because it's ruining our life. It's ruining your life. This part's ruining your life. So why listen to it? That's the question. So we're going to listen to it because this part is connected to a fear. This arm connects to the elbow, which is the fear, right? They're connected. You can't take the hand away from the elbow unless you like break my whole wrist. So like, here's the fear. It's always connected to this part. So just remember, your resistance is connected to fear. Now, if we could just push a magic button and make fear go away, this would go away. There are a few things that we actually need to be scared of, right? But we don't need to be having anxiety all day long. That's something we can overcome and it would be healthy. So all this resistance and confusion is often part of resistance. Because say you want to do something, but this part's fear is so big, it might make you confused and think you don't want to do it. Because the fear is like this part is trying to communicate to you, stop wanting that, right? This part's like, I want to do it. That would be exciting. That would be fun. It's in my soul contract. And this part is like, yeah, we have to shut that down. So that feeling of no against this whatever degree level of excitement can make you feel confused. And it might make you doubt that that's what you really want. However, it also could be that this fear, that this belief, this resistance that's making you not do the thing, it could be that this isn't actually your path. And so in this case, this resistance isn't so much resistance that it's trying to make you not do a thing. This is actually correct. This wouldn't be this. This would be another part of you, more of your knowing about yourself, trying to get you to move in a more aligned direction that would make you feel better and make you feel more fulfilled in life. But what's going on is this part, who's afraid of whatever, it's going to influence you to do something that might not feel so aligned, right? It's going to put you on a path that's going to avoid the fears that the dumbass risks you want to take would cause it to have. What we're working with today is the straight up plain old, you want something and part of you is not letting you go for it. The first thing is, okay, so just clarify what is the thing that you're trying to start that you can't. And then recognize that its resistance is because it doesn't feel safe. So what we want to try to do is help this part feel safer, but not yet. Right now, we just want to get to know it. The first layer is to just get to hear this part, to let this part and this part talk. More let this part listen and let this part talk. So in a proper parts work session, we would let this part talk and then let this part talk, and then it just flows to it's not always exactly the same, but the end result is that you yourself feel a lot more, usually clearer on what's going on, and you have a lot of compassion for yourself. You understand what this resistance is about, and then you develop a relationship between these two parts. You develop, so now when this one comes up, when you try to do the thing, you're not going to yell at yourself so much. anymore. It's like, oh, right. And then you start to advocate, right? And you start to go like, okay, so what do I need? What did I find that I needed? That's one of the things is we try to find that third option. So it's not a lose-lose situation, right? That thing that is out of reach mentally, psychologically, emotionally right now because this part hasn't been able to communicate. So until we can open up the communication, it can be really hard to find that third option. A third option is usually something you wouldn't have even thought of. You have to have had compassion for the resistance, because it's not just intellectual exercise, it's emotional processing. So you process, oh God, yeah, that's why I'm feeling this way about it. That's the pattern that I experienced in my life. No wonder this is a situation that I experienced in my life. No wonder I don't want to do that. That makes a lot of sense. And like, that's, in my experience, that's half of it right there. Half the resistance is just wiped off the table, just landing in that really deep validation of your own experience. What people say almost every time, I don't want to be like hyperbolic, but it's like 9.9 times out of 10 people feel like they have more of themselves. I know right now it's just theory, so let's just do it. So the first question, now that you have your thing and you understand that this is part of you that's held by fear because it doesn't feel safe to do the thing, then the third thing we want to do is become that part. This is what I would say. I give myself full permission to embody the part of me who doesn't want to start the thing. You get to just be irrational. You don't have to be this part anymore, interjecting logic and reason and survival psychology on you. You just get to be wonderfully, ridiculously extreme in your perspective, because it's based on an inner child's fear. And children, as we know, are really dramatic because everything was kind of life and death. A parent looks at you in a bad way that could just like ruin your day and make you feel bad about yourself, or a teacher or something, or a kid, says something. It's like really sensitive. Things feel harsh. You're dealing with this part. Let yourself explore what you really feel. No censoring yourself. Now that you've tapped into that feeling, or that idea of, I don't want to do the thing, and you've quieted down this side who's saying, shut up, you should want to do the thing. Now you're just, no, I don't want to do the thing. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. There's no way you're going to make me do it. I can't, because now this is where it gets juicy. I just record just audio, start ranting why you don't want to do it. If writing is better for you, make a list, or just writing a paragraph. No, I don't want to do it because, I don't want to do it because, I don't want to do it because. And we want to get this long ass list off your chest. Sometimes it's just really clear that it's only one thing. I've talked to people who don't have a list, and I'm like, no, it's just it. So you might have that kind of clarity where you pretty sure it's just this one reason. That's fine. You just have to feel it. You have to feel that. That would be so horrible. Like I used to have it with like, if I was going to write emails, I made this long list all these reasons why emails, I couldn't make an email. They're going to hate me. Then, you want to feel into every reason on your list, and which one, feels the worst. Which one feels like if it were totally to come true, it would just crush you. Another way to think about it is if that was solved, all the other ones wouldn't be so bad. So for me, it was like, if I knew 100% for sure that nobody would hate me, I don't know how I would measure, then would I be able to deal with all the other things? Yeah, everything else would be solved. Another question that you can ask is, what does this part just not get about you? So if I'm talking to you as the part who doesn't want to start, I would say, what does the other part of you who's trying to get you to start just not get about you? What do you wish they could understand about you or know about you? And that can often be very elucidating. Bridge that gap between these two. Now, a lot of times this part won't like this part, and vice versa. there's animosity. I've seen it where it's impossible for them to be together in the same space. Sometimes I'll have you be one of the parts, and now you're talking to the other part. And sometimes I've seen it where the person's like, they have their back to me. You'll see that in the way your parts are moving their body. So a lot of times, one of the parts appears really big or really small. And this is all really good information. And we're trying to make friends. This is you. And the whole reason why this part could feel so disempowered is because there's a protector that will help this part lock in the oppositional shit. That's why it can be really hard. It's all to prevent you from experiencing something bad you already experienced. There's just a couple more questions in this process. Ask what would make it okay. What conditions would you, so if I'm asking you, the part doesn't want to start, I would say, what conditions would make it palatable for you to do this? What could this part do for you that would make it okay? If anything, maybe there's nothing. And here, this isn't where we're brainstorming for solutions at all. We're actually still trying to understand the problem. So if you say she could go to the moon, get really far away, the point I'm trying to make is don't ask this question as if you're trying to solve things, because the part will just clam up. Because that's the whole point. That's the whole reason they don't talk in the first place, is because they're always getting shut down. And also, if you feel like this part of you is going to hurry up and try to solve the problem, what that means is they're going to make you do it. So this part, so far, we've just barely tapped into the feeling, sort of tapped into some of the reasons. It's still very oppositional. It's still not budging. But we're not trying to get it to budge. It's hard to just say, we're not trying to get this part to budge, but we really are, right? At the end of the day, we really want it to stop being oppositional. It's not really true that we're not trying to get it to budge. It's just that you're trying to heal yourself, for yourself, not for your income, not for your love life, for you, because you deserve to heal. So I know right now it might feel like, oh my God, if I don't heal this problem, I'm going to be alone, or I'm going to be stuck in this job, or I'm not going to make any money. And so that's a lot of times what drives us to heal, is our circumstances feel so awful that we're like, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll heal this part, and then I'll be able to move into this thing. So I'm not saying that motivation is wrong at all. I mean, that's been my motivation a lot of the time. And I think that's perfectly fine. Our survival will push us to that, especially if you're a spiritual person. You'll use spirituality in such a way, spirituality, psychology, to help you in your life. And so that's good. But at a really fundamental level, when you're doing this parts work, realize that there's hurt parts in there. There's scared parts in there. And this is just such a delicate, vulnerable process. We're kind of, we're going into places in your psyche that part of you's been trying to keep you out of. You might have to do it in stages, Don't ask all these questions in one go. If you hit something that feels really deep and you need to explore that and have a good cry, that's kind of golden. That's like a lot. That could actually be an emotional breakthrough for you. You're like, whoa, it's linked. Usually what'll happen is you'll ask yourself one of these questions. Why is it so bad? What's the worst thing that could happen if I send an email? What's a worst case scenario for that part, okay? Because the other part's going to be like, oh, don't give me some dumb answer. But for that part, it could be like, oh, someone will literally, kill me. Like that's how they feel. That's how we feel. So you might ask yourself, how come I think that? What's causing me to think that? Did I ever have that experience? Was I ever that exposed or felt that embarrassed ever and made fun of or something? Then you tap into, these are the same feelings. If you were to go ahead and go through with the thing and go ahead and start like this person is like, this part of you is trying to get you to do. If you were to go ahead and do it, And then worst case scenario were to actually happen. That's going to be the very feeling you're trying to not feel. So then we ask, well, is there a pattern there? Has that happened before? And then your mind's going to be like, yeah, okay, I was 12 or 9 and there was a situation and it's the exact same feeling signatures. Feeling signature meaning your emotions, meaning fear, sadness, grief, and your physiology. So there's sadness and then there's heaviness. Those are different. The emotion is sadness. The feeling in your body is heaviness. So feeling signature is just the way to like clump it all into one thing. Both the emotion and the physiology. Feeling signature. So if you go, the feeling signature of my now, if I were to live that as this part, living worst case scenario, being embarrassed because I sent an email, and now they're gonna like burn me at the stake, feels a lot like this feeling signature. When I was 6, I was told to stand up and do a thing, and everybody laughed at me. Holy in high school, and then that one time, now you have the overarching theme, and now you have that golden self-compassion that makes it all make sense. So now give yourself permission. I give myself permission to let go of the part of me who doesn't want to start and embody my full self again. And then you feel into the other part, the part that's pushing you to do it. Now that might feel like your conscious mind, like your regular self. But for this exercise, we are calling that a part. That could be an aspirational part of you, because your whole self takes care of your desires and your fears. So now we talk to the fear, now we talk to the desire. Now we ask the desire, what do you think about them? Do you like them? Do you not? What's the deal? Like they say in IFS, there are no bad parts and there are no bad perspectives of your parts. I've seen it where one of them hated the other one. The other one wasn't even aware that another part existed. Like they can be completely unaware of each other, have complete animosity towards each other, or compassion and taking care of each other. That's where we're headed. The only thing that matters is that you start developing the relationship, reaching into these parts and just being like, what does this part actually genuinely feel and want without this one barking at me? When you're in this part, you can also ask yourself these questions. What do I want? Why do I want it so much? Why is this part such a pain in my neck? If I had this thing, how great would that be? And it's very good for them to talk. This part can ask this part question. What would you need from me? Again, remember we were asking this before in more of a fantastical way. But now that you've done all the emotional validation and maybe even pattern recognition of this, what's happened in your life, now you will have created some kind of integration within yourself just by doing that. That's already integration. People think integration is something that happens after the work. It happens inside the work. Integration is the emotional reprocessing and the experiencing of your own self. You're bringing your emotions into your awareness. You're bringing your fears up into your conscious perspective. Now, this one is asking this one, how can I make this easier for us to do this? Now that I understand why it's so scary for you, is there any way that something that we can do? I just did simple things for myself, because once you get to that place, some of the resistance is gone. It's a matter of being able to work with it when you get there. Like my nervous system would still go into anxiety when it came time to write an email for another 2 weeks after I had done that process. It's like building a snowball. It's like really hard at first, and then you can just push it down the hill and it gathers snow. The learning curve is really steep to feeling okay with something that you are resistant about. That's why we need to sort of cut deals with ourselves. I would make sure I had really good music on. I would literally just make sure I had a full, new, fresh cup of coffee. It like made me feel good, you know? If I had whipped cream, I would put whipped cream and cinnamon, I'm not kidding, on the coffee. So what I was saying was, This is a really hard thing because my inner child is sitting there going, this is the end of us. And I'm like, I'm going to make it as easy on you as I can because I actually do love you. Like, if I let you control me, it's not really going to be a good life. So to release you from the fear, I have to walk with you in it and make sure you're okay. Also things like, well, what if somebody does do that? You know, I find it really helpful personally. Contingency plan, like, okay, let's just get real. What happens if it worst case scenario? Don't just sit there and go like, it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen, while they're like, yeah, it is. Like, what really actually would we do? How would that actually feel? And the weirdest thing is, the more you do these, drop into these parts, two things happen. The less likely it feels like it will, the worst case scenario will happen. Then the second thing that happens is you're more okay with your worst case scenario than you think you're gonna be. Would you be okay? That's the one of the third options we don't ever realize, because especially on the healing journey, we're trying to we're talking about manifesting, and so manifesting implies a situation happening. So I want to manifest a good situation, and I want to manifest that this bad thing never happens again. But we could manifest the capacity to withstand a shitty situation. Like you can take an empowered self everywhere, but you can't make any situation all the time. And I feel like I sound like I don't make sense. Drop a bear emoji if I am making sense. It'd be really helpful. So just to recap, fear of going, we're not doing a recap. I'm doing no recap. So I did kind of brush over the feeling part. If you struggle with feeling what this part of you is feeling, think about the worst case scenario. This part made it happen. Even though you resisted, they forced you into it. The only way this works is because you're imagining that you did the bad thing. Because if to this part it's a bad thing, to this part it's a good thing. The whole reason you can get all this intel is because of one thing. Because you are imagining that the deed has been done. And now put it in the past. Put yourself right in that future. I just did the thing. And to this part it's going to feel good. So if it starts to feel good, then you've switched back into this part. You got popped out. So then you have to be like, okay, well, what would be so bad about it? Here's the situation. You start the parts work and you ask these questions. You've been this part, you understand the pattern, why it's like this, why this fear is so big right now. And then you're all done, finished. Now let me replay the scene all over in my head. I'm gonna imagine that I did the thing. How do I feel? You're like, I don't know. I guess it's okay. And it's confusing because you don't feel bad anymore. So that can happen. I've seen that happen. Just like, no, it's fine. I know that I can be there for myself. So integration is. It's like this sadness, anger, fear. It's sitting under there, just like, I don't want to be touched. Leave me alone. Touched or seen. But they really do. And then your own thoughts, consciousness goes over there and it's like, I'd love to know what your experience is with this. And that's parts work.